No,
not Natalie. That would be an experience.
So
I'd like to see that.
I did that once or twice, and then she would sit there, but she's so black and she's got dark brown eyes. You can see when she's looking off to the side because you can see the white around. So you can see her looking at. She's trying to do like she's not paying attention to me, but you can see her looking at me like this, you know. And I knew she was looking at me, so I was slowly, because she knew what I was going to do. And I got about halfway to her. This dog turned around, jumped on me, 50 pounds worth of dog, jumped on my chest, would not let me up, and started licking me from here to here. She would not let me up, man. She was just on. And Natalie was laughing so hard because I could not get her off. She pinned me down in my recliner. It was just, I can't believe it. And she was just being honoring. But you could feel the playful interaction. That's what was so surprising. Because even while she was doing like she was not looking at me, I could feel her. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you.
Now let's take that same scenario and you think about when she thinks she has to be a certain way.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she's controlling herself and she's got to sit up or she's got to be within certain confinements. It's the same thing that I think happened, say, with Clarence.
Yeah.
All of us, when we think a religious person sitting in church has to be a certain way, they got to dress a certain way, they got to speak a certain way, they have to act a certain way. That's a tremendous amount of pressure. Mm-hmm. You take those same people in the church and you go let them eat, and once they really, as everyone says, let their hair down, if they can, if they're not completely consumed with it, the real them comes out. Well, we find out that they wasn't so much of a Christian after the real one comes out. But
this is true. That's why everybody acts a certain way in church, and when they come out.
And that's what they call backsliding. But the reality of it is they place safeguards to force them to act a certain way. Yeah. And those safeguards are crippling or imprisoning.
Yeah.
You know, dogs can do it. People can do it.
So, and one of the things I find very fascinating, too, is that just like people, animals have a different degree of being able to do it. Certain animals seem to react just like humans. Have more interaction than others.
Isn't it true though? Because you have certain people who are so mental that they everything's controlled.
Yeah.
And you have other ones who are not so controlled mentally, and they're like kids all the time. Take the autistic kids and stuff. Right. They're so loving and so free and so open, and you take the most intelligent person, and they can't enjoy themselves.
Nope.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah.
We're talking about a self-control that is imprisoning.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a freedom to the point of being a fault where they can hurt themselves.
Yeah.
So how do the two marry? I think we're going back to what we started talking about this. When a person is, they love the truth enough to recognize simply what will hurt them and just simply said, you know what, I'm not going to do that, and submits to the truth, you have a person that really can be a whole person all the time. Right. If you gravitate toward just your mind because of fear, you imprison yourself. And if you gravitate toward being completely open without the knowledge, like a child that's autistic, for instance, you risk being hurt physically.
Yeah.
So it's interesting thinking about all those things. And you've seen dogs. Some of them are really, really intelligent. They have a huge amount.
Yeah.
Sounds like the balance you talked about earlier.
It is
about having the peace without the truth. Having the truth without the peace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now something else that I wrote here, and I thought it was neat. Perversion of a truth is a twisting of the truth that makes it believable, and therefore a lie. Right. Mm-hmm. It's the only way it can be a lie if it's believable. Remember, the truth is always present or still present, only hidden behind the need not to offend the speaker.
Yeah, that was interesting.
That covers it up. Otherwise, we go, wait a minute, something's missing. If it were not for the need to not to offend the speaker, you would say, wait a minute.
Oh, so that enables the liar.
that enables a liar.
Wow.
The desire to give him or her the benefit of the doubt. This places the speaker of this perversion above the truth and an enemy of that truth as far as the hearer is concerned, having respect for the person who twisted it. This is, I'm actually talking about the respecter of persons right there, but nobody knew it. They have it because a lot of the people I'm hoping that would hear this have never really paid attention to the biblical stuff about not being a respecter of persons, but still, it's the same thing. And I chose to say in the next one, facts can be wonderful pieces of information, right? You get a bunch of facts. You know where the spoons are in the kitchen. You know where the forks are. The milk, everything, those are all facts. But when we use all of those facts to decide that somebody else's kitchen is wrong because they don't have the things in the same place, you tend to judge the other person and you cut them off. Mm-hmm. The cutting off is the problem. Yeah. And it happens as a result of somebody not lining up to what we consider to be right or wrong. And it doesn't matter if it's your forks are in the wrong place. It's the same thing.
You know, we talked a long time ago about trying to define the difference between the good kind of judgment and the bad kind of judgment. Mm-hmm. And we said, well, the difference is the intent to condemn or not. But really, more simply stated, which is what you just said, it's the intent to cut them off, to close your heart. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you got to... See, what is that? I'm going to make you pay for not putting your forks in the same place as mine.
Mm. Huh. Mm-hmm.
I'm right. You're wrong. This is the way it's supposed to be. What do you think? Again, we go back to even road rage. Somebody gets on the road. This is how you're supposed to drive, and you're not doing it. Therefore, I'm ticked at you. And I want to make you pay. I'm going to blow my horn. I'm going to yell. I'm going to shoot the bird. I'm going to do anything I can to let you know I can't stand the fact that you're doing this. You're going too slow. Then you pass them and you go, oh my God, that was an old lady.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what just happened? You had it in your mind and you expected it to be some young punk that was just trying to get on your nerves.
Or was on the cell phone.
Or was on the cell phone or what have you. And it turns out it was just an old lady that just didn't go very fast. So we're going back into that world of expectation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Expectation. Who was I just talking to about that? Oh, we talked about hope. Hope. In fact, y'all never heard this before, I don't think. Hope can be a wonderful thing, right? Even if you know you never get it.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Think about it. You can hope that you're going to go to, let's say you wanted to go to Japan and you wanted to go eat at a restaurant over there. And you can hope the rest of your life. And you can imagine it and it'll be a wonderful memory. And even though you know it may never happen, you still could enjoy it. Now watch what happens. I'm going to add one thing to the scenario that you just painted in your head. Add a time frame to it.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
The second you add a time frame to it, an element of frustration comes because now you have to make it so within a certain period of time. And you're expecting it.
Yeah.
And you know what it goes back to? Are we there yet?
Yeah.
Are we there yet?
Oh my God.
Are we there yet?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Over there yet? Over there yet?
The expectation is going to have to happen. I mean, it's, yeah.
And yet, if you hope, and somebody just says, you really hope, well, why don't you try to start raising, try to save your money so you can go. And it's okay saving the money and everything and looking at it and still hoping and building it up. But the minute you say, I'm going at this time, even if you have the money, it produces an element of frustration. Yep. That's interesting. Time causes this.
Expectation.
Okay, school. You're in school. Get there in the morning, it's okay, but the closer toward the afternoon, it gets closer to 3 or 3:30. Oh, man, it's a long time. There's an expectation with a time limit, and you get miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the expectation, it enables, the time frame enables the expectation.
Now, let's turn it over another way. You're playing as a child. Everybody probably remembers playing as a child. And all of a sudden, somebody stops it. And you really wanted it to keep on going on.
Mm-hmm.
You're depressed. Or you're mad. You're upset. The time has been cut off. And you can't just say, well, I'm going to enjoy the memory of playing. You don't want to do that. You want it to keep on going. So you're still struggling with time to try to make it it happen now. Whether it's in the past or in the future. It's weird. Yeah. The idea of time really screws with us for some reason.
It does.
Oh.
I can see that.
Hey, Miss Dodie, we were talking about something. We were talking about something you might find interesting.
I remember that.
So a person, everybody remembers what it's like to have hope. They enjoy hope. It's even fun to think about, hoping that something's going to take place. And you can actually just sit there and think about hope about doing something and go off in your imagination and really have a good feeling about it. Now, if you add one thing to that, it causes stress. That one thing is a time limit to when that hope is going to be achieved.
Very interesting.
You can feel it, can't you? The minute that you add that time limit, it's like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? How long? It really does. And the closer that time limit gets, the worse it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it would be.
If you think about a kid going to school, hoping for after school to play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the closer it got to the end, it's miserable. You can ride in a car for a long time having to pee.
That's miserable.
And then when you get really, really close to being able to go, you better be careful. You almost pee on yourself.
Yep.
Now it's more prevalent now than it was when I was younger, but it's still that expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can think you're going to walk in and be able to go straight to the bathroom, and then you got a broken bathroom. It's a problem. Or you got to walk 100 yards.
That's a nightmare. That would turn into a nightmare.
Yeah, it sure could. Be a wet situation.
Yeah.